And what you notice may be other pictures popping into your mind's eye. It may be thoughts or words or phrases that simply pop into your mind. It might be your awareness of a particular emotion that rises or falls or gets stronger or weaker, or a different emotion that comes up altogether. It may be your awareness of a physical sensation that gets stronger or weaker, or rises or falls, or again a different physical sensation that comes up altogether. So you're simply noticing what's going on for you as your eyes are moving backwards and forwards. Now we'll do that for about 20 to 30 seconds. And after that, I'll stop. I'll get you to take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, I'll ask you to let your mind go blank. Just clear your mind as you breathe out. And then I'll ask you, what comes up for you now? So what presents itself to your awareness when I ask the question? And again, what presents itself may be in the form of a picture that pops into your mind's eye. It may be a thought or a word or a phrase or a belief or an idea. It may be your awareness of an emotion. It may be the same emotion that we started off with, which has either become less intense or more intense, or it could be a different emotion altogether. Or it may be your awareness of a physical sensation, and again it may be the same physical sensation that you started off with. It's become less or more intense. Or it might be a different physical sensation altogether. So whatever it is that presents itself to your awareness, I want you to tell me when I ask you, what do you notice now? And I'll ask you not to edit what you're telling me. So if, for example, the image of a frog pops into your mind, or a goldfish pops into your mind, when I ask you that question, or when your eyes are moving backwards and forwards, a goldfish popped into your mind, and I ask you what's come up for you now, and a goldfish is there, and you decide, well, I'm not going to say goldfish because that just sounds too silly. It's got nothing to do with my bike being stolen and smashed up, and I just feel really stupid saying goldfish. I'd ask you to tell me anyway. Now, it may be that you'd forgotten all about it, but the next day when you went back to school, the kid who you sat next to told you, hey, guess what, I just got a new goldfish last night. And you couldn't care less because you were traumatised about being bullied and your bike being smashed up and getting in trouble with your parents and then having to face the bullies again the next day at school. So you didn't even take it in that he told you that he'd got a new goldfish, or you didn't care less about it. But as part of the stream of the memory, it basically comes up while your eyes are moving backwards and forwards. And if that's what presents itself, I'll ask you to tell me, yeah, I've got a goldfish presented itself into my mind. Because if you don't tell me, we could be stopping a stream of memory which could lead somewhere really useful. And we don't know where it's going to lead to, but there's a potential that any of these things that come up for you could lead somewhere really useful. And if you don't tell me, we're simply cutting off that option. And I'd rather not cut off that option. So if a goldfish presents itself to your mind, I want you to tell me, goldfish, I see a goldfish. And whatever it is that you tell me that has presented itself to you, whatever pops into your mind, I'll get you to focus in on. So if it's a picture of a goldfish, I'll say, right, just bring up that picture of the goldfish, follow my hand, and let's move your eyes backwards and forwards again. If it's a picture of what happened when you got home and you got a belting from your parents and you got in big trouble because your bike was all smashed up, I'll say, right, go with that picture, let's do it again, just simply notice what comes up. If it's a thought or a word or a phrase, I'll say, just think that thought or just repeat that word to yourself. Let's do it again. Notice what comes up. If it's your awareness of an emotion that comes up, I will ask you just to tune into that emotion. If it's anger, just simply tune into that emotion. Follow my hand and simply notice what comes up. If it's an awareness of a physical sensation, just simply bring your awareness to that tension in your shoulders, follow my hand, and again, just notice what comes up while your eyes are moving backwards and forwards. And we'll do that for another 20 or 30 seconds. Then again, we stop. We do the same thing again. I'll get you to take a deep breath, let your mind go blank as you breathe out. Then I'll ask you, what comes up for you now? What presents itself to your awareness? What do you notice? And again, you tell me, I'll get you to focus in on that, and we do it again. Now we keep on doing that until a person gets to a point where they can say to me, I remember this bad thing happening, but when I think about it now, I don't feel upset, I don't feel anxious or distressed or angry or whatever the feelings were. And when I think about it now, my thoughts about myself are more naturally self-enhancing rather than beating myself up, rather than thinking I'm a loser. I might be naturally thinking, well, I did the best that I could in the situation. And finally, when a person can say, yeah, well, I remember this bad thing happening, but my body feels pretty relaxed. I feel free from any signs of tension or stress or strain. When a person can say those three things, I know that their mind/brain has done the digestive job on that experience. Basically, it's chewed over the experience. It's worked out what you need to hang on to, what no longer serves your interests, what's now just simply toxic for you to hang on to, and it allows your mind or your brain to let go of the toxic elements of that memory, which could be in the form of pictures or thoughts about yourself or thoughts about the world or people in general, negative emotions about yourself or about the world or people or about the experience, and distress physiology. And your mind/brain has been able to let go of all that dysfunctional part of that memory, pull out what you need to remember of the experience, what are the basic facts of what happened, and find somewhere to store that away in your memory system. And what that means is that your burden of distress, where it was up there, has now been reduced to something like that. And typically, the distress that was associated with that memory doesn't come back. Okay?